I'm Larry Menti. Welcome to Jersey Matters. There is no more red light camera program in New Jersey. However, there is a possibility it could live again. Assemblyman Declan O'Scanlon is here. He's a Republican from Monmouth County. So you were just telling me it was a pilot program. It expired in December. Is there a chance it could come back?
A pilot program that mercifully died itself in last December. We will have it. There's so much money, and this scam is so lucrative that you will have attempts to bring it back.
Why did you call it a scam?
Because everybody knows, including the people that support it, that it's not about safety at all. We've shown that every competent, objective study out there has demonstrated there is no safety benefit to red light cameras. That's a little counterintuitive, but if you go online, you can look at red light camera accidents, or excuse me, red light accidents, intersection accidents. They're virtually all caused by someone entering the intersection many seconds after the light has changed, which people aren't doing consciously, by the way, unless you're suicidal or running from the police, or drunk. It's just people like you and me, with our head up our butt for a moment, screaming kid in the back or worried about work. They don't realize the light has changed, and they tragically go through. Red light cameras aren't going to dissuade them.
Sometimes people are just in a hurry, and sometimes people are trying to make the light and run the red light because they want to get to work a few minutes faster.
They run the first few tenths of a second of a red light. And
not all the time.
No, unless you're suicidal or an idiot, you're not plowing through an intersection knowing traffic might come the other way. You're likely to be killed.
Have you been on the roads? There's a lot of idiots out in the roads.
There's not one person, unless again you're drunk or suicidal, running from the police, who consciously decides to barrel through an intersection when they know a light is red. That's just insanity. Quite frankly, if people are doing that, they're going to do it whether there's a camera there or not. They don't care about an $85 ticket. If they don't care about their life, they don't care about an $85 ticket.
But it is against the law to go through a red light.
Well, it is. And if you want to reduce,
what's the problem with getting a ticket for going through a red light?
If you want to set yellow lights based on sound engineering criteria, you will greatly reduce infractions over those first few tenths of a second. People consciously clipping the end of a yellow light dramatically reduce those infractions, more so than a camera will, by the way. That's fine. The problem is if you do that, if you set yellow lights according to sound engineering criteria, maybe give a half a second grace period, you eliminate enough infractions that the cameras don't even pay for themselves. Municipalities, they pull them. If they really cared about safety, that wouldn't be the question. So that's a demonstration that they only care about the revenue. But that's the way to do it. You don't need cameras. If you do it through engineering and treat motorists fairly, very, very few people choose to go through a red light, even the first few tenths.
To be fair, you keep saying it, to be fair, it's not just people clipping the end of a yellow light. Well, there are other times when people go, we've all seen it.
No, but not consciously. You don't have. I would bet you $10,000 that there's not more than a handful of people who are stupid enough. Would you barrel through?
Regardless of the reason, shouldn't you get a ticket when you do that, and that'll teach you that maybe you should pay more attention when you come up to a red light?
If the prospect of death isn't enough to dissuade you from having that momentary brain lapse, a ticket isn't going to make you more. An $85 ticket isn't going to change that. And it's been shown, by the way, this isn't just me saying it. Every single objective, competent, independent study that's been done, and there's been scores of them, have shown there is no safety benefit to red light cameras. So if there's no safety benefit, you got to work really hard to justify to me that you should rig these systems, and they virtually are all short yellow lights where red light cameras are installed, or they're really right on the cusp. You're going to have to really, it's a tough argument to make that it isn't government figuring out a way to come up with a gotcha way to steal millions of dollars, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from motorists. Motorists are seen by government right now not as individuals, but as marks whose pockets can be picked. That's got to stop, because we're all motorists.
So by your argument, the pilot program should have ended and should never come back. What are the chances?
Not just my argument.
No, I understand, but I'm going by what you just said. I don't mean it's just your argument. It could be the argument of most people. So what are the chances it is going to come back?
Slim. There's very little legislative support on either side of the aisle at this point, because we presented the data over and over and over again, and even the thickest of legislators, myself included in that category, can't help but deny the facts, unless you are completely denying the facts. So you can't be competent and diligent and honest and be a supporter of red light cameras. You just can't. There's enough data out there, an overwhelming amount of data, that shows that there's no safety benefit. So there's very little support in the legislature. But money having the influence that it does, someone will try to bring it back up.
So you think there will be an attempt?
There'll be an attempt.
But there's not the votes to have it go
I
down.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Let's talk about your legislation now, because what you're trying to do is make it so that motorists in New Jersey not only have to not have to deal with red light cameras here, but in other states as well.
Red light and speed cameras. Both.
Explain how that happens.
Well, look, this is a scam, so New Jersey should not be complicit in other states' perpetuation of this scam by cooperating with the scammers. At least one other state has done this, North Dakota, has said, we're not going to cooperate anymore because it is a scam. We're not going to turn over our motorist information to these red light camera companies or anyone else trying to get this information and steal money from our residents. That's what we're trying to do, and there's growing support for that now in the legislature.
And the speed cameras too, that's interesting. So your argument's not just with red light cameras, so your argument would be that the speed cameras don't make things safer either?
They do not. That's just not my argument, but anywhere, again, any objective, competent study shows that that speed cameras don't improve safety, number one. Number two, if you set, just like with yellow lights, if you set them according to sound engineering criteria, very few people run lights. Same thing with speed limits. If you set speed limits based on sound engineering criteria, you have the greatest amount of conformance, the greatest amount of safety, and the least amount of people speeding or exceeding the speed limit. If you do all those things, there's no need for speed cameras.
So what are the chances of your legislation passing? How's it doing now?
We've got bipartisan support, it's growing. Every month it's growing. So, you never know. Some of the people that control the legislature, what bills go through, very few people can kill a bill. So if they are in the pocket or if they are biased somehow against motorists and for these companies, they will prohibit that bill from going through. That's sad because they're now serving a totally different master than the residents of New Jersey. But it happens. I'm not going to deny it. They may be able to stop the bill.
Assemblyman Declan O'Scanlon, Republican from Monmouth County. When we come back, a new push in New Jersey to help cure mental illness through art when Jersey Matters continues.